Hello, beautiful people. Just call me Whitney Houston, baby. Welcome back to another episode of Up the Gut. We're here to annoy you for another hour or so. Just the way you like it. Just the way you like it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in again. Whoever is tuning in, thank you guys so much for listening, watching, liking, subscribing, sharing, talking about us, hating us, whatever it possibly can be. Before we get started here, I want to give a shout out to our partnerships, like always. Nick D's Gaming Vault in the Steamtown Mall, Pat Riot's Piercing in the Steamtown Mall, Comics and Collectibles Are Us in the Steamtown Mall, Sports Fever in the Viewmont Mall, and Classic Sports Cards over in West Pittston. Thank you guys so much. Hopefully we'll add some more at some point or anything like that. But thank you guys so much for being a partnership with us. Give them some love. Wherever you need your shit, go do that. Highly recommend all of them. Anything for our viewers or anything you'd like to say before we get into Fuck Mel Kiper?
No, just thank you for everyone that does continue to watch, reach out, tell us, how we're doing, that kind of thing. We did have somebody reach out from Virginia to me, and she had some things to say about us she said that I am professional, which just goes to show you that she doesn't know me very well. And she said that I do have the most handsome co-host, which clearly her eyes are not working. So
They tell the
yeah.
true stories. Look into these babies. That's what I'm
Yes.
talking about.
Oh,
I'm
bloodshot
super
as they are.
professional too. Bunch of retards. Anyways. I don't know what you're talking about. I should be on ESPN. Censor me. I would get kicked off in like 2 seconds. I'd say retard on camera and be like, oh. So yeah, we're back to our normal scheduling. We're going to be going over the NFL South today. Before then, yell at Mel. I don't really have one. There isn't too much going on except Josh Jacobs. You fucking ruined my dynasty team, or any chances of trading you. I don't know. His lawyers, sorry if I sound a little nasally. I was just getting over being sick too. His lawyer came out and said, keep an open mind. They feel confident once all the information's out that there should be no charges against Jacobs. So, on the outline of the way that it happened and everything that came out, yeah, it looks real bad. But we do live under that pretense of innocent until proven guilty. I mean, who knows what happened? Who knows what happened with, she said, he said, she said. The whole thing, the charges don't look great. NFL players need to start being smarter, especially the ones from Georgia. They learn how to drive a car at a normal fucking speed. And Rashid Rice needs to be fucking smarter. Like that stupid stuff, the Pierce one, pretty plain as day. But who knows with this one? We'll see what happens with it. You just got to be fucking smarter. Stop being so fucking stupid. And you're just throwing everything away that you have. Millions of dollars. You get to play a game for your career. For the love of God. And then as always, fuck Mel Kiper Jr., fuck Dan Orlovsky. Fuck them.
Fuck them all. So speaking about throwing away a chance to play, this is more of not a yell, but more of a cry for help from Johnny Manziel. I know that he probably is on a bunch of people's Mount Rushmores of people to party with. But this dude is seriously 33 years old and might be dead by the time he's 40. I don't know if you saw. I think I sent you the link. Just for a brief recap, Johnny Manziel won the Heisman in college, got drafted by the Browns, was out of the league in a few years, spent exactly 1 year in Canada where he played for 2 different teams. Then he went and played in I believe it was either the UFL or the XFL for a year.
He played in the Arena League for like a game, and then they kicked him off the team for smoking weed after he threw a touchdown.
So then he did take that year off, but then he went and played in that fan-controlled Arena League where the fans call the plays.
That's the one.
Like that.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's been out of football ever since. The dude was married for like 2.5 years. He's already divorced. Now He's doing a bunch of low level. I believe it might have been a Jake Paul produced thing for mixed martial arts.
He says never
Like,
doing it again though. He's like one and done. He's like I'm done. He's like
well,
that
I
was
mean,
enough.
but how attention starved are you? Like, your parents were rich as shit to the point where it didn't matter if you got scholarships because you wouldn't owe a dime for your fucking degree. Like, you were such a little shit in your youth that you went to a rival team's fucking party on their campus, smug as shit. Like, and now he's doing this stuff. Like, what's gonna happen when nobody wants to see his face? Like,
Well,
it's sad at this point.
uh, we'll get into a little Johnny Manziel before. I love Johnny Manziel. Yeah, he's on the Mount Rushmore. He's on the Mount Rushmore of Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen that I'd love to go out to a bar with and just get hammered because I think it would be a great fucking time. But I mean, Johnny Manziel. I don't know anyone who has watched the Shannon Sharp one. You know, when he did the interview on his like the interview that he did and talked about everything that happened and from college and NFL and then afterwards. Um, yeah, I mean, he was a little shit in college. The stardom got to his head. I mean, you go in there, you win the Heisman as like a freshman. Everything's escalating. This is before NIL, so like he's getting paid without getting paid, and that
Mm-hmm.
kind of came out with him signing memorabilia and the whole thing. So like that was gonna be an issue. Um, he was this close to going back to college instead of entering the NFL if Texas A&M paid him X amount of dollars, but they wouldn't do it, so he left for the NFL. Well, he ended up on the Browns, which honestly was probably the worst thing that could happen to a kid like that. Yeah, it isn't a big market, it isn't New York or something like that.
Right.
But the way that he describes Brian Hoyer and that quarterback room, I mean, Hoyer was calling him a retard because he asked the question as a rookie to like, oh, I'm like, can you go over that again? And Hoyer's like, we're going over this again. Like, Hoyer, you've been in the league for like fucking 10-12 years. You're a bum. This guy's in here. Give him a chance to get caught up. Are you kidding me? You came into the league and you didn't ask questions or lost track or anything at all. um and then one of the coaches for the Browns went to him and said, "Stop playing like shit." Essentially, and his headspace, the way that he went from being this top guy to being in Cleveland, and like it's a rough time in Cleveland,
Yeah.
obviously to be a quarterback, and then to have that type of people around you is not going to help you excel. It's not going to help you progress. It's not going to be anything. Like you're a very high and low guy, and when your highs are high and your lows are lows, and then when you have coaches talking about you, and then the quarterback that's ahead of you because he's waiting for his time to shine, Hoyer, it's never your time to fucking shine. It never was, and it never will be. Clearly, it didn't fucking work. Nobody fucking wanted you. You bald bitch. Um, it didn't help. And then by the time that ended, I mean, if you watch that too, he was planning to end things. I guess is a nice way to say it. On his own accord, um, and it did go as planned, and that's why he's still around. And then he literally went off the grid for years because he went to go find himself and do his thing or whatever. And I feel like yeah, it was like gimmicky, like the whole thing with the MMA fight. I mean, he looks like me with my shirt off, maybe probably a little bit better shape. But not by much. Not by much. I almost look like Johnny Manziel. I can say that finally in my life. I look like Johnny Manziel. But it's good to see him coming back around to want to do more stuff with life. I don't think he needs the stardom. I don't think he needs any of that. Um, I mean, there's also an interview of some kid interviewing him on the street, and they were like, "Oh, what did you do?" And like, "Oh, I played football." And he's like, "Oh, what do you do now?" He's like, "I'm just a normal guy. I'm just a normal guy." I don't think he needs a stardom. I don't think if he just disappears, I don't think it'll be a problem. But
I hope not.
I
I hope
I'm
you're right.
not
I really hope you're right. I
I'm
hope he
not
takes some of
worried
that
about
money
him. I
and does good.
think I think he's coming around to life, and I think he regrets what happened in terms of the way it ended with Texas A&M and the way it ended with the Browns, and he kind of seems like he wishes he was in a better mental state and that he had a better head on his shoulders to deal with what he could deal with because he had the talent. I mean, he could make plays. He was able to move around, do what he had to do. He had a good enough arm. If Tua was in the fucking league for his arm, Manziel could be in the fucking league for his arm.
That's a really low bar, but yes.
So he had enough to do it, but he didn't have the mental capacity at the time to handle the stresses of the NFL or criticism when it came to the NFL
Right.
of being an NFL quarterback. I think if he had the headspace now that he did back then, I think he would have been more successful. Star, mate, I don't know. Franchise quarterback, probably not, but solid starter. I mean, solid starter, at least
He
career
would have been
backup.
at
So
exactly. He would have been somebody that hung around for a while who can make a spot start and not flame out the way he did. So I would agree with you there. He was still under 6 foot. He still was like a buck 80, a buck 90 or close to it. So those guys don't have a great track record of longevity. But yeah, if he was in the better situation, better headspace, like you said, better people around him,
yeah,
he could have maybe reached his max potential of being that backup quarterback, journeyman kind of guy, and not what he ended up being. Like I said, this is the yell at Mel portion, but I'm not by any means yelling at him.
oh
It's
yeah.
more of a hey, dude, like, come, you're better than this. But like, come on.
Yeah, and like I think he knows that. I think like he said after the fight, like the whole thing. Like I wouldn't even call it a fight. Like it was it was like I watched like a
No,
clip of it and I was like, oh, this is so messy. And then afterwards he was like, yeah, I'm not doing that again. It's one and done. I've had enough of the MMA stuff. I'm good. I'll end it on 1-0. But I'm not too worried about him. I think he'll be okay. And I'm glad. He seems like he's a better person now than he was then, and he's coming
right.
around to what he kind of wishes he was back when he wasn't in the league. So he's not like Kaepernick, keep working out and never get a shot. I mean,
No. You know who believed in Kaepernick? Mel Kiper. Fuck you, Mel Kiper.
fuck Mel Kiper Jr. Kaepernick's a whole different fucking thing. I mean, like you one
Yeah.
way or the other. I mean, you're looking at it political or NFL stance. Yeah, he was good for like those 3 year stint, but then they figured out his shtick, and then that's it. It's just the
Mm-hmm.
NFL. NFL evolves a lot faster and better than college. So once you have like this gimmicky thing, you have like a year or two of it, and it's gone. Like the Wildcat, that lasted like a
Yep.
year or two. You can't fucking do that anymore. You can't fucking do it anymore. The tush push teams are finally starting to figure it out, and that's why they're not uh, wanting to vote it out anymore because they're like, okay, we can't stop the quarterback from going, but the quarterback's laying on top of the guy, so technically he's not down. Just rip the fucking ball out. Just rip the fucking ball out. And that's what teams have started doing, and that's why Philly, I think, sometimes didn't do the tush push and sense like what they normally would towards the end there. You kind of notice they kind of backed away from it, or they did different plays off it.
Right.
So the NFL evolves very fast. Kaepernick did not evolve with the NFL. His throwing motion wasn't great. His accuracy started to decline, and he couldn't use his legs as much. Defenses got faster. Defenses got smarter, and he just kind of crapped out. He was good for like 2-3 years. He was that guy.
Yeah.
But the guys who stay around are the guys who evolve with the NFL. He wasn't evolving with it. That's why we're here. It's not for political reasons. It's because he just
Right.
not that good. And then have him as a backup, it would just be way more of a headache than anything because then like people would be like, well, just put Kaepernick in. I don't want Kaepernick. Like you got Justin Herbert. Why the fuck are we gonna put Kaepernick in? Like what are we doing? And
Right.
teams just don't want to fucking deal with it, and that's why Sanders fell to the 6th round. Teams just don't want to fucking deal with it. It's 5th round, whatever he got
Yeah.
drafted. It's just like teams don't want to deal with it. Like it's a headache. I don't want to
Mhm.
deal with this. Like I don't want to have the pedigree. And there we go. So all right. We could have a whole episode about quarterbacks sucking or whatever if you guys really want us to. I don't mind that. Or like players that should have panned out and didn't pan out. We have some time after we go over this one and the next one before we have anything really nuts and busts to talk about. But we're going to start off in the NFC South today. And we are back with Rainman Lopes' method of grading. Let me get my pen out so I can get these averages and everything, because I have them written down. Um, and we are going to start out with the Cuccaneers.
They Buccaneers. Fire them cannons.
Pew, pew,
All
pew,
right,
pew.
they did win the division in my opinion. They had an average of 3.62, which is best for third in the conference and top five overall. They are fifth.
Hmm, look at that. Okay. All right, Rain Man,
So
take
yeah,
us away.
so clearly I enjoyed what they did, and again for posterity purposes, this encompasses everything they did, not just the draft. This is what they did, what they lost, what they added, the accounts coaches, and everything like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's complicated, and
Yeah,
you know
it's
the simple
very
things
Rain
they'll
Man
just make
like. They're
fun
gonna
of it
make
because
a
they
movie
don't
about you
understand
in
it.
a couple of years. Be like, this is the Rain Man
They
method.
already did. They already did. It stars Cuba Gooding Jr. All
No.
right,
What?
it's called
Radio?
Radio.
No, that's not you. That's not you. No. All right. All right. Go ahead, Rain Man. You got
Yeah.
this.
So what they did lose, they did lose. They were long in the tooth. Anthony Walker retired. They lost Logan Hall. Levante David was not the same player that he was. They honestly had the worst tackling linebacking crew in the NFL. So losing those two guys, that's a lot of experience, but you're going to get better by
Yeah,
subtraction.
besides Kenneth Murray, they were
Uh,
pretty bad.
Exactly. Jameel Dean, they lost to Pittsburgh, and then longtime receiver, future Hall of Famer Mike Evans went to San Francisco.
Yeah.
They did re-sign Kate Otten. They did sign Alex Anzalone and Kenneth Gainwell. They added to the running back room. As far as the draft is concerned, they hit a lot of different things. And if they hit big, to be honest with you. I think they kind of swung for the fences, took some chances, and if it hits, it hits. Round one, Ruben Bain Jr., defensive end of the U. I gave that. I gave for their first three picks 4 stars. Uh, he has a chip on his shoulder. He really, really does. He's a fast guy. He's talented. But unfortunately, that shoulder that has the chip on it is attached to 30-inch arms. Yes, exactly. He is a T Rex, but the T Rex is king of the jungle or whatever it is. Um, it's all going to be depending on what type of coaching he can do and what kind of moves he can get in his repertoire. If he can keep him off balance, if he can find a way to use his speed, or they scheme it up to use his speed where his arm length isn't an issue, that's a home run.
He's gonna
But
have to
we'll
get
see.
those speed rush moves because he's not gonna be able to get in the nuts and butts of these long armed guys. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, Will Campbell he could probably push back, but it's because they have the same arm length. But you get like these
Right?
long armed guys and they get a hand on him. He's not gonna be able to do too much. He's gonna have to dip, dive, dodge,
If
dip, and dodge.
yeah, if he was to go 1-on-one versus Will Campbell, I'm pretty sure their helmets would touch before their arms touch. But second round I went to Isaiah Chatter. That's some good bloodlines there. His daddy played for the Eagles. I'm pretty sure he was a Giant as well. But he's a linebacker out of Missouri. He's gonna be a rotational guy at this point, but I'm pretty sure he'll be a starter next year. Ted Hurst, wide receiver out of Georgia State. He's gonna learn. He's gonna play. I think eventually he is going to start, maybe as early as next year. If we've learned anything about the wide receiver room in Tampa Bay, it's that they are injury prone. So he could start fourth or fifth on the depth chart to begin the year and all of a sudden be number two. I mean, look at Igbuka. Everyone's like, why'd they draft him? They already have this guy and that guy, Godwin and all this.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden he's leading them in receiving yards because he's the only one left. Uh, Keontae Scott, everybody else got 3 stars, by the way. Keontae Scott Core from Miami. He's small. He's violent. I personally, I like him. He reminds me of a little of D'Angelo Bonds. I kind of felt like they were almost the same player. Um, the fifth round, I can never say his name. Deontay Capehart, D tackle to Clemson. The dude spent 6 years there and only started 12 games. I understand that there was talent at Clemson on the D line. But that means that dudes they recruited after you passed you on the depth chart. And for somebody that doesn't add people through the portal, that's really fucking hard to do
Yeah.
with Dabo Sweeney. Then you just have some throw-ins here. Billy Schruth, offensive guard from Notre Dame,
Truth.
and then Bauer Sharp, tight end from LSU. Both of them are just depth pieces. They'll be special teams guys, and they were just late round picks. So overall, I think they got better by subtraction. Give some of the younger guys that they did get years prior, and then like I said, if Ruben Bain Jr. if he can find a way around his arms, if Josiah Trotter is anything like his dad, and if Ted Hurst can learn quick, I think he'll be a really really good addition to that young core. Dude's 6'4", 206 pounds. Him next to a Booker on the other side of a Booker could be really, really nice.
Yeah, I was wondering because I know Ted Hurst was really big. Um, yeah, 6'4". He also runs a 4.42, and he's not
If he
slow. And he
does.
has a 36 and a half inch vertical. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Great numbers for obviously a wide receiver, and on a team with Baker Mayfield, a healthy Baker Mayfield, that'd be great. I do really like their draft, specifically the first four picks, because in my eyes, they got four starters on this team. Ruben Bain's obviously going to start. There's no reason for him not to. There's nothing great ahead of him. Josiah Trotter, I think he ends up starting at least by halfway, or he starts rotating in at some point. And he ends up just taking it. He was a huge climber in the draft. Towards the draft day and everything like that, and coming up to it, he just kept climbing up boards. Everyone was loving him. They loved his pro day. Obviously, having his dad in the NFL is good pedigree as well. Ted Hurst, he was one of the guys I really liked just because of the size, the speed. Yeah, he played at Georgia State. You know what? It's still fucking D1. You know, like it's still D1 ball. I don't know what we're talking about here. You know, Georgia State or fucking Alabama, you're still playing D1 ball against D1 guys. You know, there's plenty of guys that didn't fucking play for fucking Ohio State or LSU or wide receiver, and they're very good. Um, and then Keontae Scott, I really liked him. I had a third round grade, possibly the end of the second on him. He's fast. Played at Miami, so he ended up playing in all the way to the Natty. You know, I think he had a great year. He ran a 40 a lot faster than people thought he was going to run, which I think really boosted up his boards. But I mean, on here you have Zion McCollum, and then other than that, you have Benjamin Morrison and Jacob Parrish. I mean, like I like Parrish, but like Scott's going to take one of those spots. I don't know who the hell Benjamin Morrison is, or Josh Hayes, or Aiden Gaines, or Garnes and Damon Williams. I'm sorry, but like I'm taking Scott. I'm giving the young guy, you know, the reins here. You know, like oh, beat out that guy. You can play. Well, he's going to beat him out. I don't know. I'm more
Ben
confident in
Ben
that.
Morrison Ben Morrison was a guy they took a chance on. He was a star corner at Notre Dame before he got hurt. I'm pretty sure it was his hip. They took a chance on him. He's
Mm.
recovered obviously, but he hasn't really lived up to what people thought he could be pre injury.
Yeah, I think he ends up taking his spot. I think Scott ends up taking it. And he stated like a couple of guys. I mean, you have Bain and Scott from Miami. They end up staying in Florida. So, and then Ted Hurst, he's used to the South, playing in Georgia State, and he just kind of kept them close. I mean, the climate or anything is going to change for him, so they're going to keep up that same with the conditioning. But I really like the draft. I think the first four were just just the awesome picks you could possibly get, best value. Um, I think Hurst ends up taking that third spot at least. I mean, McMillan's not bad, but he gets banged up a lot. And then you have Tez Johnson. Those are like the only other two guys I would see. Um, David Sills is a rotate, is just a traveling guy. Cameron Johnson and Garrett Green and Dennis Houston. I'm not really worried about any of those guys. He's at least fifth at worst, and that's if he's behind McMillan and Johnson. But I think he's probably the third best wide receiver right now on the roster. So I think that was a good draft. I think it was really good. Um, they have a lot of potential, especially in the NFC South, with how fucking toss up it is every year, and you can win it with having a losing record. So I mean,
I'm sure.
you just have to be the best worst team in the NFC, and you'll be fine. So yeah. Next one is the Falcons,
Yep,
which
the Atlanta
God,
Falcons, as some people say.
God.
And it's you look at it as a whole, like their off season, and some people will poo poo it. but that's probably because you look at the quarterback situation, and that's where everybody starts.
Yeah.
Which I can understand. But they had an average of 3.57, which is fourth in the NFC
Okay.
and sixth overall.
Oh wow, 5-6. Look at that.
Yeah. So they did lose Tyler Algier, David Amiana, Caden Ellis. They did lose Kirk Cousins, Darnell Mooney, a couple other guys. They did sign Johan Dotson. Austin Hooper re-signed Kyle Pitts, Aziz Ojolari, and Tua Tagovailoa was the big
Ugh.
name that everyone sees there. Yeah, they did not have a first round pick because they did move up last year, so they kind of had to sit, but they hit their needs in my opinion, and I think that their third round pick's better than their second round pick, but here we go. I gave both of them 4 stars because of their potential. Second round, Avian Terrell, corner from Clemson. He's going to be an eventual starter for them. He's going to be working in with the rotation, one injury away from being a starter. His brother's there, and he's very highly thought of there as well. So to me, when you have a sibling there, somebody you're close to, like a brother, who knows the ins and outs and everything and what to expect from coaches, especially since they play the same position. That to me, that's going to give him an edge. Zachariah Branch, as long as he has somebody driving his car, I think he'll be fine. He is much needed depth at that wide receiver spot. And to me, he is arguably the second best receiver on the team. That includes Kyle Pitts. That includes Drake London. To me, he's at least number two. Which I guess we'll get
So he's
into
better
when
than Drake
we
London
go.
because there you go. All right.
Well, I mean, if he's not better than Drake London, he's definitely close. Um, they're two different, totally different receivers, but I think for what Atlanta needs is more Zachariah Branch than Drake London. But we'll get into it. Kendall Daniels, linebacker of Oklahoma, he needs some coaching. He didn't really do a whole heck of a lot. When he was there, but he'll contribute, especially on special teams. Ontario Thompson, D tackle from Washington, he's just a depth piece. Harold Perkins Jr. He was somebody that was supposed to go day two, like end of second, early third, towards ACL in 2024. He came back. He was a little rough around the edges, which is what we expected. LSU kind of underperformed, and so did he. Kind of just fell. He fell all the way to the sixth. So I mean, if he can get right, if he can get back to where he was before the ACL, that could be a steal. Uh, and then somebody that I'm not very high on, even if he went to Ohio State, is Ethan.
That's saying a lot.
I can never say his last name. Anawana,
I don't
Onianwa.
want to play for
Um,
another team.
exactly. He's a swing tackle. He's a dude who came in. He played at Rice. He excelled at Rice with who they played in
Oh,
the American Conference. Earned some money, transferred to Ohio State, got to play, stunk up the joint at times, was pretty decent at other times. I wouldn't have had him drafted with draftable grade, but the Falcons think differently than
it's
I do.
seventh round. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, I would have tried for something else because he's just um, but no, as a whole, I think they did get a little bit. I'm tentative to say a lot better because I still think they were a better coaching job opportunity than the New York Giants. But
Fucking
the
Jesus Christ.
quarterback spot is going to really hold them.
Yeah, I mean, I was really high on Terrell. Like when we did our mock, I had him going to the Cowboys at 20. So I really like him. I think they got a good steal there in the second with Terrell, and then Branch. He brings a much needed piece to that offense. He's at least wide receiver 2 for me right now. I mean, they picked up Jahan Dotson, but he's never lived up to that first round pedigree. He's not able to catch on with Commanders. The Eagles, well, they have a more running back playing QB, so you can't really do too much.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then you have two other mouths to feed with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, but Brown will be somewhere else at some point. Who knows where? Because every other team keeps fucking popping up now, but we'll figure that out. But other than Dotson, they pretty sure I don't know how to say the guy's last name, Zacchaeus or whatever, the guy from the Bears. So the
Yeah.
Bears last
Mm-hmm.
year. The Bears liked him. I thought he sucked. I have no idea why they kept using him. He was just fast. He's like a gadget guy to me.
Yeah.
Casey Washington, Dylan Drummond, Devin Thompson, Tompkins, Chris Blair, and Lamakai Brockton. A bunch of fucking nobodies. A bunch of fucking nobodies. So to me, starts out at wide receiver 4, but I'd put him at least wide receiver 2 at that point. Um, they're gonna need him because I mean Drake London disappears when he gets like an actual top corner on him, so they're gonna need him to fucking do something. So I mean, like, yeah, 2, but like I wouldn't say if you get the right scheme like they had once Drake London was out. Pitts is a top tight end, and he's finally coming into his own of being like, all right, Arthur Smith's gone. All right, Penix isn't going to be the QB, so he's not going to just target fucking London the whole time. So I have a chance to actually do something. Because I'm going to say this out loud: Penix sucks. Penix sucks. They have the 2 worst left-handed QBs in the draft. Oh, look at that! You can see my stuff behind me. They have the 2 worst
Rock band, baby.
left. I'm still not moved in. There's still boxes. This is the last room we're doing because I don't matter. They have 2 left-handed QBs who both suck. You know what sucks is Tua is better than the other left-handed QB. Penix was a horrible choice when they drafted him in the first round 2 years ago. Not a great shot there. Whoever the fuck drafted him, I hope they get fired if they aren't fired already.
Oh, he's gone. Yeah.
Because it doesn't make any fucking sense. You just ruined that shit. They had a better draft last year, and that's whatever the hell's going on with James Pierce. I mean, if he gets to play, Jesus Christ, I mean, who knows? Then they're really good, especially on the defensive side. That offense is going to have to do just enough to stay in games because that secondary is pretty fucking nice with AJ Terrell. His brother Avion Terrell is going to end up starting. They have Mike Hughes and Billy Bowman Jr. I still like Terrell at least at number 2 or at least in the slot. And then Xavier Watts, who came on hardcore, and Jesse Bates is still there. So that secondary is turning into a no-fly zone. But AJ Terrell is also getting up there in age, and this is when corners start to regress a little bit and it ends up not being too great. We kind of saw that a little bit last year. He was having a hard time with a couple top wide receivers, one of them being Mike Evans. So he's probably happy he's fucking gone. Doesn't have to see him twice a year. But if they get Pierce, I mean, they have those 2 pass rushers, Walker and Pierce, and they were really coming on together as well. I really like the first 2 picks, Terrell and Branch. Daniels is, I don't know. I don't hate their linebackers enough to take him in the 4th. I would have took probably someone else, maybe an offensive lineman to kind of fix it a little bit, maybe an interior defensive lineman, because they have Diablo and Christian Harris right now as their linebackers, and then you still have Troy Anderson, who he's kind of just a jack of all trade type of guy. That what he did, I think it was at Montana. He was the fullback, halfback, fucking tight end, linebacker. He just kind of did it all. Taysom Hill type shit. He's so fast though. He's so fast. And then Harold Perkins. I like Harold Perkins. He ran a great 40. I think he's only like 5'11" or something like that. So he's a little undersized. But you could use him in certain packages. Maybe on 3rd down and that nickel or something like that. Use his speed and athleticism. Overall wise, I mean, I think they did a really good job. Off season except for quarterback. I think they could have used one more piece at wide receiver. If they could have got someone, that would have been fucking great. And maybe another interior offensive lineman. I mean, overall wise, I mean they are in the NFC South. It's going to be competitive just because it's the NFC South, and no team has really distinguished themselves as being a powerhouse since Tom Brady left the NFC South, which is kind of sad. So. Let me get that paper here. Stop sticking together. Jesus Christ. All right. Next one we got is the Saints are kind of marching in.
Kind of. They're sauntering at this point.
They're there. They have a very.
They are. They do
a very older second-year QB.
Yes. Who's older than the guy the Falcons just signed. But anyway, they averaged 3.22, which is good enough for 11th in the NFC and 23rd overall.
What was that? The average?
Their average rating was a 3.22.
3.22. Okay. I just didn't have my
Mm-hmm.
pen out. I got the rest. You're good.
No, you're good. All right. So who they lost, I had to
These
cut this
nuts.
down. Uh, Luke Fortner, the center. Demario Davis went back to the Jets. Delonte Taylor, Foster Monroe. Cam Jordan, who I guess could come back and stay with Taysom Hill. As of right now, they're not back. The Saints are still in a little bit of cap hell. It's
Yeah.
getting a lot better, and then all of it almost goes away after this year. So I don't know if they're going to be able to spend on getting those guys on 1 year deals, especially if they're, contributing veterans.
Well, I mean, you have to figure out what they're going
Um,
to do with Kamara, too. So there's still talks
yeah,
about
that's
him.
true.
He said he doesn't want to play anywhere else. So he might just retire. So I don't know.
We'll see. But they did sign Travis Etienne. Speaking of running backs, Noah Fant, Caden Ellis, and Julian Blackman. So they kind of went a little bit of everywhere. The draft was a little bit of a mixed bag. Again, 4 stars for Jordan Tyson. Very, very talented guy. At worst, he's going to be the number 2. A lot like the Bucks. Chris Olave, I love him to death, but the dude has issues with concussions, and look at Michael Hill. Same thing with him when he was there in New Orleans. He's talented, but injuries, injuries, injuries. So to me, right now, Tyson is at least the number 2, especially since your number 3 listed right now is Devon Bell. Um, he could be their number 1 at some point during the season. Christian Miller, defensive tackle of Georgia. I kind of think that was a little bit of a sneaky pick. Um, at worst, he's going to be in a rotation and probably will end up taking one of those spots at 27. Um, the one that threw me, I gave 2 stars in the 3rd round. Oscar Delp, tight end from Georgia. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Like you spent a day 2 pick on a blocking tight end.
He's not a blocking tight end. He does it all.
He's a blocking tight end.
He,
He does not do it all.
yes, he
He does
does.
not do it all.
Yes,
He
he
does not.
does. I'm
He
telling you
is
right
a
now.
he is
I'm telling you
rubber
right. He
chance.
does it all. He is not just a blocking tight end. He blocks well that you can just use him as a blocker if you need to. But the man can catch the ball and he can work it.
Well, between Juwan Johnson, Noah Fant, and Oscar Delp, I'm pretty sure I'm confident in saying he's going to be the number 3.
He's at least the
Right.
number 2. I like him over Noah Fant already.
Mm.
Noah Fant is so injury prone and he just can't catch on anywhere. I have no.
Well,
He's
I
jumped
mean,
around to like
yeah,
4 teams now. He's been traded like 2 or 3 times. Nobody fucking wants him for a fucking reason. He's at
well,
least my number
if Noah
2.
Fant stays
And
healthy, then
Dwan Johnson's getting up there in
I don't
age.
know.
I think Delp is a starter by next year.
That's really sad. That's a really weak tight
I
end
have
room if
high
that's
hopes for
the case.
Delp.
But
I like Delp.
I mean, you can have high hopes in one hand and shit in the other, and see
I
what one fills up first.
it might have been a
Um,
little. I had like a 4th round grade on him, so I mean like it was
yeah.
one higher, 1 round higher, but like
If they took
I
him
don't
day
see a
3, and
problem with it at all.
I'm talking 5th round for me. If they
Oh
took him
man,
5th round, this would have been a three star for me because
nah,
I'm fine with that 5th round, not end of
nah.
day 2. Um, then they went Jeremiah Wright, who's a former defensive lineman playing guard for Auburn. I don't know about that, but whatever. My one of my favorite picks from them though, Bryce Lance, 6'3", 204, runs a 4.34. He has all the tools to climb that depth chart and succeed down there. People say, "Oh, he was in a running system, and oh, he played at North Dakota State." North Dakota State puts out just as many FBS teams into the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone's like, oh, they play FCS, they play South Dakota, they play this, they play that. Okay, look at all the guys that came out from North Dakota State that are contributing. Like this isn't a one-off guy. And the fact that his brother played in the NFL, he was actually one of your favorite quarterbacks as a Cowboy, right? Um, Trey Lance.
Yeah, that great QB.
Yeah. Yeah. Lorenzo Styles, safety out of Ohio State. He's just going to be a rotational guy at best. Barry and Brown, receiver at LSU. To me, he's a gadget guy. He's a kick and punt returner. I was not very high on him. And
He's
then
very
TJ Hall,
fast.
the corner,
So
he is very fast. But so is Usain Bolt. He couldn't get open, but I'm just saying. TJ Hall, the corner out of Iowa, To me, he's a future safety. He's a little big and slow to be corner. And I'm pretty sure he was the one that got stiff armed by Jeremiah Smith in the end zone. And then
Probably.
Jeremiah Smith just went bam and then stared him down. But overall, I think the Saints are getting better, and that cap situation is improving. Tyler Shuck is ever closer to AARP age, but he's the best quarterback they've had in a while. So I mean, I can't shit on that. Overall, you know, not bad, not great, but heading in the right direction.
I feel like this is something that the Falcons should have did and drafted 3 wide receivers, which probably would have been a good fucking idea. Um, I don't hate the Delp pick as much as you do, and the fact that you don't think he's a receiving tight end is just crazy to me because the guy can catch. He's got soft hands. He has a little bit shorter arms, so he kind of goes in a T-Rex
That's
way. But he
that's a
can
great
catch.
combination.
He's athletic. He can catch, and he's a very quality blocker. You're working at Georgia. Obviously he's not Brock Bowers because Brock Bowers is Brock Bowers. You're not going to get Brock Bowers out of Oscar Delp.
Yeah.
No one's ever going to ask Oscar Delp to be Brock Bowers. But he can catch. I don't have a problem with him catching. I don't have a problem with him taking over for Dewan Johnson because Dewan Johnson is basically just a big receiver. He's not a blocker. Out of all these guys, if they want to run the ball, Delp is going to be on the field. It's not going to be Johnson. It's not going to be Fant. Delp's going to end up being on the field to be a blocker. So, and then you can use him. Yeah. And you want to use him like Michael Mayer, go ahead. But I think he's a better receiver than Michael Mayer is too.
Now, I understand what you're saying, and I would agree that it is unfair to compare him to Brock Bowers, who could, in college was a unicorn. However, in 4 years, the dude has 70 catches, under
He first
900
got banged
yards,
up a
and
little.
nine touchdowns.
Yeah,
I'm just
well,
saying that does not scream receiver to me.
yeah, well, you also argued with me that Kyle Pitts isn't a top tight end, and it's because stats don't matter. So why are we bringing up stats now receiving? Because if we're going straight stats, then Kyle Pitts is your number 2 tight end in the entire league. But you
Off
told me
of
Kyle Pitts isn't
one
the
year,
number 2
you
tight
want to
end.
do it off of 1 year. The
Just,
dude is a running joke, for people having high hopes, and he just steals their
he
life,
had
takes the chains
fucking
off the
Arthur
goddamn
Smith,
dresser.
who is borderline retarded like Mel Kiper as his fucking head coach offensive coordinator for like 2 years. He was ruined when he first got in the league. And then he wasn't great the beginning of this year because Penix only knew that Drake London played for him as soon as Penix went down. Cousin was like, oh, I got this really tall, really fast, athletic tight end. Let's give him the fucking ball and see what happens. And he balled the fuck out.
Oscar Delp's best game last year came against Ole Miss, 4 catches, 42 yards.
I'm telling you, man.
That's not great to me.
I'm telling you.
That's not great. But what do you think of the rest of
Well,
it?
here's great for you. He previously had an undetected hairline fracture in his foot, which nobody fucking knew about, and they only found out during an X-ray during the combine.
Yeah.
So there's that.
How many catches can he have standing on the sideline?
I'm telling you, you're wrong. He's going to end up being the starter, and he's going to end up doing it all. Do I think he's going to be a top tight end? I'm not saying that. But he's going to be very serviceable to where he can block and catch the ball. The catching isn't going to be a problem. He can receive the ball. He's no slouch. And especially this is one of the weaker tight end groups that you can possibly have when your top guy is nothing against Dwan Johnson, but he's just a receiving guy. And if you want Travis Etienne to run the ball and do what you have to do and take some of the stress off of Shuck in his second year, you're going to have Delp on the field. Because he could... Dewan Johnson's not a blocker, and fucking Fant is not a blocker. Yeah. These guys are not blockers. They are not blockers.
So put Delp out there when you run the ball. Congratulations.
There you go. But then you could use him in the pass game as well. He can do both. When you have Dewan Johnson out there and Noah Fant, you're like, oh, it's a fucking pass or it's a play action. I'm not expecting them to hardcore run the ball that way or anything like that. Or like, oh, it's a misdirection. It's going the opposite way because Dwan Johnson and Noah Fant are not scary in terms of, oh, they're blocking me. Oh my God, what am I gonna do? It's like, oh no. It's like when you pull up to the Falcons game, you're like, oh no, I have to play a shitty left-handed QB. What will I ever do? That's just kind of what it is. Delp to me gives them the best of both worlds of having a tight end that can catch the ball and also block. So for me, he's at least number 2, and he's taking Fant's spot. I don't care. Fant isn't catching on anywhere. There's a reason why he keeps jumping around. There's a reason why guys don't like him and teams don't like him and he can't catch on. He's gone. He'll end up being number 3. But Delp's at least number 2, and Dwan Johnson is Bailey's just a big receiver. But they drafted so many receivers, they don't need just a receiving tight end now. I mean, you got Jordan Tyson now, and then you got Bryce Lance, and then Baron Brown is your gadget guy. He's your faster guy. He's basically just out there to run a go route 3 times in a row, and then put Lance or someone out there to run another go route, and or Olave out there to run a go route on a tired fucking corner like they used to do with Julio, and then whoop, there we go.
So you mean to tell me that if the receivers out there are Jordan Tyson, we'll say Bryce Lance, Chris Olave, Jawan Johnson, and Oscar Delp, you mean to tell me that Oscar Delp isn't the 4th or 5th option in any play that's going to be drawn up?
Well, I mean, at that point, he has to be 4th or 5th because you have 4 or 5. If he's on the field, then yeah, he's a 4th or 5th option because he's the 4th or 5th guy out there. I mean, what do you mean? Anyone in that situation could be the 4th or 5th option. It depends on the play.
That's not true.
It depends on the play.
Alvin Kamara is going to be a better receiving option than Oscar Delp is going to
But
be.
you just listed 5 receivers. Kamara can't be on the field.
Okay, so take off Lance, put Kamara out there. All I'm saying is that of the eligible people that are going to be able to catch a pass on any given play, he's not exactly going to be top of the pecking order.
Fine. But you could suck my balls when you're wrong in a year. Remember
you won't
this.
be able to do your yellow mail.
Somebody clip this.
Out my pubes.
That if Oscar
this is going
Delp
to
is
be on the
starting
YouTube forever.
and he's serviceable as a tight end in both ways, blocking and catching, he has to suck my balls on camera.
So that's a very broad stroke you just put out there. When is he starting?
I had to turn on.
Where'd he go?
It was getting a little dark.
All right, so at what point is he starting?
I mean, he might end up taking some starter reps by the end of this season. You know, the way things look, who the hell fucking knows. Dwan Johnson isn't known to stay healthy at all times because he kind of does what he does. But I say they go younger and he starts by. He's only 22. I say he gets his starting route by the end of next year. Beginning of next year.
And what's your over under on his catches?
Over under on catches this year?
Yeah. Does he match his?
Yeah, he gets
Does
at least.
Does he match 20. His career total? 20.
He gets at least 20 catches.
Wow.
This year,
he gets 20 catches this season. This guy.
He gets at least 20 this season. I'm telling you.
Okay.
He gets at least 20.
You're setting that bar real low, but okay.
He gets at least 20. I'm telling you, he gets at least 20. They find a way to get him the ball in certain situations. He gets at least 20. He's the number 2 tight end for me on this team.
Yeah.
You have some other targets and everything. Kind of takes the glorified the way he is on it. I say he gets at least 20.
Right, so other than Oscar Delp, who you're apparently in love with, what do you think about the rest of the class?
I'm just telling you you're wrong about Oscar Delp. I'm just trying to tell you why you're wrong. Just take it from a professional. The guy who won our draft competition. Take it from the professional.
The first round.
Evaluating is the way you should go, and it's me because I know what I'm talking about, okay?
Sure.
It was a hefty win, too. It was by like 10 plus points, I think. It's whatever. Anyways, champion, crown, welcome to my world. Jordan Tyson, at 8 for me, wasn't a huge fan just because of the injury history. You pair him with one other injury history wide receiver. Well, now you're down 2 wide receivers, concussions and hammies. Which one you going to choose? I don't know. If both go down, then you're kind of fucking screwed and you're back to where you were, last year, the year before. And Chuck's going to have a hard second year. Um, I like Christian Miller. I love Oscar Delp. Look at that one. Jeremiah Wright. I didn't look too much at. I mean, depth at guard.
Yeah.
Bryce Lance. He to me, he's just another Christian Watson. He's just Christian Watson this year. He's a big, tall guy from North Dakota State that runs really fast and will run and go route and go up and get the ball. They're going to have to expand his route tree more to get the most out of him. But to me, he's basically Christian Watson, but his name's Bryce Lance. So,
Yeah.
Lorenzo Styles Jr. only got drafted in the 5th round because of his combine, because nobody had any idea who the fuck he was up until that point.
Well, I mean, I
Yeah,
hated
no
it.
shit. But nobody had him on their board up until that fucking point. And the athleticism
Yeah.
just jumps off the charts to where you're like, you know what? I can find a place for this guy. He's fast. He's athletic. He played for a Big Ten school in Ohio State. I got a place for him. Fucking take him in the 5th round. Same with Baron Brown. Dude's just fast. He's from LSU. Another guy that can use gadget guy, some end arounds, some screen passes, return specialist. There you go. And TJ Hall is more of a safety for me too. I don't have him at corner for me. I'd have him at safety. Kind of bigger guy. He's kind of stiff. I'd use him at safety rather than corner. Overall, though, I don't hate it. I just think for me, Jordan Tyson at 8 is a little much given the injury history. But I mean, if you really want a wide receiver at that point, Tate's off the board. Your next guy is who? Lemon? And fuck that. Boston, who ended up going to 2nd. Concepcion. I haven't taken him at 8 either. At this point, I would kind of just trade back. That's what I would have did. I mean, like, pick up some more picks. Somebody's going to want to jump up. Maybe he drops because of, the injury history. But for me, the injury history at 8, top 10 pick, it's kind of hard to invest all that money and all that time into a guy who maybe plays. So overall, it wasn't horrible though. But that 8, he's my Oscar Delp of that draft of their draft for me. Your Oscar Delp is Oscar Delp. Mine is Jordan Tyson.
Yeah. But I wouldn't argue with you about Tyson because like you said, if he is injured again, not that you're paying that dude a lot of guaranteed money to sit on the fucking bench, and now you're fucking. So
yeah, I mean they already did some management with like his hamstring. He was out after like the 2nd or 3rd day and didn't do anything. So like, oh, we planned on doing this. I was like, did you though? Like,
yeah.
all right, we'll see how the season goes. All right, and I guess that brings us to our losers of the NFC South, and that is the Carolina Fuzzy Panthers.
You know how bad you have to be. You got to wake up pretty goddamn early in the morning in the NFC South.
Well, you did have 2 of them as like top 10 teams. 2 of them were in the top 7. I mean, you got 5 and 6 there, and then you had to fall off of all the way to 23. So that's saying a lot.
To me, that just shows how much all of these teams need to improve.
Yeah.
Only a couple of them did. But yeah, the Carolina Fuzzy Panthers averaged 3.12. Good for 15th, next to last in the conference. The only team worse, Philadelphia Eagles.
You say 15th? Will there be 16 teams?
15 in the conference, yeah. So Philadelphia was 16th in the conference.
Oh, you mean in the conference overall? Okay.
Yes.
Like, wait, what?
Yes, overall.
Okay.
They did finish 29th in the NFL.
In the Rainman ratings.
In the Rainman ratings, baby. We're gonna put that on a t-shirt. They did lose Rico Dowdle, who at times was their entire offense last year. I think there was 1 or 2 games that he went over 200 yards total.
Yeah.
Had
I think
kind
it was
of a
against the
resurrection.
Cowboys, but that wasn't that hard to do last year. So
yeah. Well, I mean, I believe you called that because you said that there's 2 teams that always give Cowboys fits. And that's the Cardinals and Panthers. So
yeah, it's the Cardinals and Panthers. They, for whatever fucking reason, the Cowboys just go limp dick and they don't fucking do well. I have no idea why.
So they did lose Deshaun Robinson to Tampa Bay. DJ Wonnum to Detroit, and Brady Christensen is down. They did sign Isaiah Simmons, Devin Lloyd, Jalen Phillips, Stu Fortner, and they won Kenny Pickett. Oh boy. All right. So when it comes down to their draft, I did give them a few picks, a few picks of being good. To me, they did a better job drafting than they did with their free agency money. But Monroe Freeling, offensive tackle, I think he's going to be a guard in the future. But that's just me. Tackle out of Georgia in round one. Um, this is this was predictable. Ike Onawanu, their left tackle, tore his, I believe it was an ACL in the playoff game. So there's a lot of question of whether he's even going to play at all this year. They may just say, you know what, take the entire year, get healthy, and we'll see you next year. So taking Freeling to play the left tackle spot this year, and then when Icky comes back, you either move him to right tackle to have bookends, or you kick him inside the guard, where I think he'll be better. But for now, he'll play left tackle. Lee Hunter, the D tackle at Texas Tech, he was my favorite interior defensive lineman this year. I believe he can. I believe he can be your Oscar Del, I guess, to be he can do it all. He can literally play against the run, very good run stuffer. He has a little pass rush. My only hesitation on him is he had David Bailey on one side. He had Romello Height on the other. You know, he had Rodriguez. I'm pretty sure linebacker, Texas
Yeah.
Tech. I'm pretty sure last name was Rodriguez.
Yeah. Jacob Rodriguez.
Behind him, thank you, Jacob Rodriguez. He had guys in the secondary that ended up getting drafted. Was he a piece that benefited from all that, or was he a piece that benefited them? So that we're gonna find out, in my opinion. He was my favorite interior, but doesn't mean he's gonna be great. Chris Brazel, wide receiver at Tennessee. To me, he makes Xavier Leggett very expendable. He'll be their number two and number three. He's 6'4", 198, runs a 4.37. I think people give Tennessee receivers a lot of shit for no reason.
Well, Jalen
It
Hylett
is
kind of
no,
fucking ruined that. So
well, he did. But people kept pointing, they kept pointing to him like, look at this on run plays, he's jogging. That was literally a part of the offense. Like Josh Heupel said, you are here to catch the ball. Don't you touch a defender unless the ball's going right past you.
yeah.
So I think they kind of gave them shit for no reason. You better clean that up in the NFL, but he wasn't actually that good. Will Lee, the third corner at Texas A&M, he's gonna be a rotational guy. Probably finds a home at nickel. Sam Hecht, one of my favorite picks of theirs. Not only did he play the hardest position in football at center, but he plays all three positions on the interior guard center and the guards and center. He was good. He was good in Kansas State. Zakee Wheatley, safety out of Penn State. To me, he's just a core special teams guy. You'll have more insight on him than I will. And then Jackson Kuwatch, linebacker out of Miami,
Hey.
Ohio. Again, he'll play special teams. Um, and I guess pretty good for a seventh round pick. Oh my God!
We have a special
It's
guest here.
baby.
We have Sweet Pea Penelope. No, don't press that. Say hello. Say hi. No, don't bite it. Don't bite it. Don't bite it.
She gets that from her mother.
No, don't bite that. Okay.
Oh,
No, we're not
boy.
biting the mic. So yeah, we have a special guest here. So yeah, sorry.
We
About
do. We do. But yeah, overall, I did not
Hold on a
like what
second.
they did. Whoa. As my co host gets kicked in the face from an unemployed adolescent.
Okay. Just
Grab the hat to hide the bald spot.
Yeah, I know, right? There's no bald spot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. You can't see
Not
that part of
yet.
your head, my brother.
Not yet. Is there? I don't think there's a bald spot.
Look at that right there. Look at that. That hairline's gone.
Is it?
There's there's a there's a
Where?
barren wasteland in the middle of that forest, sir.
Where? Where?
You're gonna have to look at that off camera. But
Behind me.
there you go, coming over. Um,
Right here?
overall, I was not a fan of what they've done. So to me, they didn't get much better in a bad division. They kind of stayed the same. They're still going to try and figure out what they're going to do with Bryce Young. Anything happens to him, whether he gets benched again or gets hurt, who are you going to start? Kenny Pickett, just trying to hands himself. I don't see it. I was not a fan of this offseason.
All right. Well, now that me and my bald spot apparently are ready.
Yeah.
Is there really a bald spot back there? You're a lying piece of shit. I got a full head of hair until I shave
Sure.
it.
Yeah.
When I see a bald spot, I'm just shaving. That's why I need to know because I'm just shaving it off. I'm not doing hair
It's
plugs.
fine.
I'm not going to wherever the hell those people go and I come back with a swollen head and it looks like I have a bunch of dots in my head. Fuck that. That looks painful. I want nothing to do with that. I'm just shaving it. I'm done. Like a ball sack, with a hairy ball sack and a tip
There
right
you
here.
go.
I'll get a tattoo of
Mm-hmm.
just a lines down the middle of my head, so it looks like a dick.
Jesus Christ.
Anyways, um, back to our normal programming after our special guest, Sweet Pea Penelope. She's going to bed. So, Freeling, I didn't know what he looked like, so that surprised me when I saw him when he got drafted. I didn't know what the guy looked like. I just knew the name. He was like my third or fourth tackle that I had on the board because I had Proctor ahead of him. I had Maaga. I think that was close enough. I
Now we
had him.
know.
Yeah, Mawanoa. That's what I said. What'd you say? I don't think you
Yeah.
said it right.
I just echoed what you said. Yeah.
And then Blake Miller. So he was like the third or fourth guy. So I mean, at 19, you know, Lee Hunter, I think, is going to fit very well. They run a 3-4, so he has Derek Brown next to him on one side, and then you're going to have either Bobby Brown or Sean Wharton or whoever the hell they decide to throw in there. But then you also have Nick Scorton. Scorton is how you say it. And then they picked up Jalen. Yeah, and then they picked up Jalen Phillips on top of Devin Lloyd. They really invested in the defense this year. In terms of picking up people, and I think one of the sneaky guys on defense is going to be that Zakee Wheatley is going to take one of those safety spots, either way from Morhig or Nick Scott. More than likely Nick Scott. He's one of those Penn State guys that got hurt by how shitty James Franklin is as a coach, and they ended up in the situation they were in because he was one of those day 1, day 2 guys last year. And I was on day 3. And here we go. Brazil, I think what hurt him a little bit was also the blocking, but I think people thought he was a little bit faster than what he ran. People were kind of expecting him to get up. Yeah, I know he's really tall and everything too, but they kind of were expecting like a 4.2 something out of him. I feel like or like a 4.3 flat, like in that range. And I think he ran a little bit slower than that, and they kind of threw him off. I think if he runs that 4.2, 4.3 flat, he ends up in the second round just for the size and what he can bring, and that gets rid of that Jalen Hylett fucking tag the Tennessee wide receivers have because he sucks, and that's why they drafted him, to be fast and good, and he can't even catch the ball when he does get down the field. Will Lee and Sam Hyatt. I know you're high on Sam Hyatt. Will Lee's just going to fit in their corner. Their corners aren't horrible. Mike Jackson, J.C. Horn, who got paid a shit ton of money for whatever fucking reason, and then True Smith Wade. I think there's going to be a competition for that third cornerback spot, and he might get a shot at there for the nickel. And then you got the linebacker from Miami, Kawach. I mean, he's going to have a tough time getting on the field between Devin Lloyd and whoever else they decide to put in that second spot. I mean, they did pick up Isaiah Simmons in the free agency, so maybe they give him another shot there. That first jack of all trades, play him everywhere, who just can't latch onto any team whenever he gets a shot. So I don't think it was horrible. Freeling, I think he ends up at tackle. I think they're okay at guard with Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis. Do they put him at left tackle for the year and bump him back to right tackle, or do they just make Taylor Morton, you're old, go play left tackle, we want Freeling to develop a right tackle so that there's no lapse of development from year over to year to move from left to right once the other guy comes back? Maybe they do that. Or they just find a journeyman left tackle, plug him in there, and then Freeling just works his way at right tackle when he feels up to it and takes Taylor Morton's spot because he's up there in age like 32, 33 or something. So he's not going to be playing forever. I don't hate it. It's not amazing, but They have a lot of question marks at running back. Do they run with Hubbard? Do they give Jonathan Brooks a legitimate chance? Do they run a dual back, a legitimate split back between Hubbard and Brooks, which they might do. Um, they gotta let Brooks actually be healthy enough to get on the field rather than push it this time, so he doesn't tear his ACL for the third time, and it really
Mm-hmm.
screw his career. But that defense is going to keep them in games like it did against the Rams in the playoffs, where they almost shocked the world on that one. But this is Bryce Young's make or break year. And we said that last year. Well, he had a perk game like Aaron Rodgers used to last year. And then now he has a couple targets. Um, I don't know why. Didn't they pick up I feel like they picked up a tight end, or I'm just dreaming. I think it's just Sanders is still their tight end, though, for whatever reason. Um, but we're going to see what
Correct.
happens. I mean, McMillan's second year, Brazil is kind of like, I think you should play the other outside spot, and then you have Coker or Leggett or Horn on the inside. They did pick up John Mechie. So, I mean, they will have a legitimate competition for that third wide receiver spot, but I think you should just go out there, put Brazil on the outside, make him really put a guy over the top, make that safety scared of him going deep, and kind of work that intermediate to short range game with your very short QB. So, we'll see. We'll see. Now, we're going to move on to Lopes' former division now that he is not a Colts fan anymore. Now he's a Cowboys fan. We are moving on to the AFC South, where anything is possible. Any QB can play here, especially Daniel Jones.
Mm. Not only play but thrive.
So, we're moving on to the Tennessee Titans.
The Titians, they won the division. Average of 3.44.
Wow,
That's
that's
good enough
pretty.
for that's sixth in the AFC and 10th in the NFL.
Wow, that's pretty high.
Well, for a team that had the fourth overall pick, it's probably not the best, or probably not the worst thing, I should say, to get rid of some of the guys that are on that roster. And again, I had to cut this down. Kyer Elam, kind of a journeyman. Sebastian Joseph Day, Lloyd Cushenberry, Devontae Sweat, Arden Key, a bunch of dudes who just they may have had a year or two, but then they were just kind of plug and play guys, not really going to do too much for you. They did sign Mitchell Trubisky, who again he would have been that he's what Johnny Manziel could have potentially been. Spot starter. He brings a lot of experience. He's going to help develop Cam Ward. I kind of hate to say that from a backup dude, but that's part of the job. Um, they did sign Wandell Robinson, Jermaine Johnson. They got with the Rondé Sweat trade, and then John Franklin Myers. So they're getting more guys that kind of fit that Gus Bradley, Robert Saleh kind of defense. As far as the draft is concerned, Carnell Tate. I am not worried about his 40 time because he was never that 40 guy. He was never the burner. He was never Ted Ginn. He's not Jeremiah Smith. He's a dude who runs for a high 4.4, low 4.5, runs great routes. He has great body control. He has great hands. That's who he's going to be. If you're going to go get a superstar, okay, go get a superstar because this dude's going to compliment him. So I don't know what everyone's fucking crying about. Maybe they're crying that he got drafted as high as he did because he's not that superstar type dude. But right now, he's a young dude who's working with a young quarterback. And something a young quarterback needs to build confidence is a receiver that has sure hands, and that's what Carnell Tate has. I know that you were really high on this guy. I believe Kelder Folk, the end from Auburn. He's very versatile. He's going to make an immediate impact on that defense. Anthony Hill, junior linebacker at Texas. He has a real shot to play as well. Going in the second round, Robert Slade just, reports were that as soon as he laid eyes on Anthony Hill in person at the combine, he was all in. He wanted this kid no matter what. And then they missed out on a lot of the draft because they traded a bunch. They go from the second round all the way to the fifth round with
It's mainly
Fernando
because they traded back
from
up into the first round there, and that's why.
yeah, exactly. But you know what? To me, it's worth it to get the impact of Kelton. Um, Fernando Carmona, offensive guard from Arkansas. He'll be a depth piece, maybe an eventual starter. I am, and please, Ohio State fans, get off of my fucking jock. I understand it's large and throbbing and salacious. All
It is
because
pretty
I
big.
like a couple guys from a rival school does not mean I all of a sudden rooting for that rival school. Nick Singleton, running back out of Penn State, getting him in the fifth round on a team where their starting running backs are Tony Pollard and some other guy who's not even worth remembering the name.
Tajay
You get
Spears.
Nick Singleton. Exactly. I do. Yeah. Tajay Spears, please. Uh, you get Nick Singleton, who was 1A 1,000 yard rusher at a major school in the Big Ten. Give me that all day. To me, he's going to be their future starter. Jackie Marshall, defensive tackle from Baylor, he's a depth piece. Pat Coogan, he played the most important position on a national championship team. He also plays the three interior positions, which is great versatility. And then Jaron Kanak, tight end of Oklahoma. He played one season as an H-backing tight end. I understand you're going to tell me that's the seventh round, you're throwing darts, but this dude has almost no experience playing the position. So overall, for as bad as this team was, Soleil, Dable, uh, Gus Bradley, there's not a single hair on any of their heads, but they're all building this team to resemble what they want. And to me, they vastly improved.
Yeah, I mean the draft for me. I mean, like you said, there's a huge fallout because they got two firsts and a second, and they go straight to the fifth. You kind of have you're missing that third and fourth rounders. There were a couple guys that slipped through their fingers. Um, Obviously they have their number one in Cardinal Tate. His fucking hands are huge. They
Mm-hmm.
people are like, this is that a little league ball? What ball is he holding? Because they took the photos and his hand is like wrapping it around the ball, and it's
Yeah.
like, holy crap. He's got huge hands, which is exactly what you'd love from a wide receiver. Hopefully Cam Ward gets him it. I mean, they have Trubisky as the backup. My question mark is Will Levis. What are they doing with this guy? Do they eventually trade him? Let him get a shot somewhere else? Because obviously he gave up on him and went to another guy who is just making Will Levis plays, but they've been working. It was basically like watching Will Levis and Cam Ward last year, but everything he did worked, and then everything that Will Levis did just didn't work. So if that was Will Levis in his first 2 years making those plays and they worked, they would have never drafted Cam Ward. So I mean, like it's just another situation there. I still think Will Levis has a shot somewhere. Um, if I'm a team that's thinking about a quarterback for next year or something like that, maybe I give him a call like, oh, I'll give you a sixth. I'll give you a 6th round pick. You're gonna get nothing for him if you just let him walk anyways, and he's not gonna fucking resign with you guys because whatever.
Why
Especially with
would
that
he?
nasty fucking shoulder injury he was playing for in the last
Mm-hmm.
year he played for. I mean, Jesus Christ, man. I don't know why I would complete any balls with that.
Mm-hmm.
Kendrick Falk, big dude, 6'6". He's gonna start in one of the DN spots. Probably opposite Jeremiah Johnson. I don't think John Franklin Myers is really huge and scary for me that I'd be like, oh, I don't want to start Falk because I like John Franklin Myers more. Bump him inside or something, whatever. They have Solomon Thomas now, who was good against the run for the Cowboys, which is saying a lot because they were not good against anything last year, especially with Kenneth Walker, or not Kenneth Walker,
Right.
Kenneth Murray
Mm-hmm.
playing for whatever reason. I'm pretty sure he's still a free agent, and he should stay that way forever after last year. Um, Anthony Hill Jr., I think, is a great pick, especially the end of the second. I think it's a great pick for them. I think he ends up starting. I'm not scared of Cedric Gray or Cody Barton or James Williams Sr. To be like, well, we're not going to start our rookie because we have these other guys. Fuck those other guys. I mean, Barton would be the only other guy I would play out of all those guys rather than Hill. And they run a 4-3. So there's 3 linebacker spots. They essentially do the same thing in a 4-3. It's read the D line and just get up there and fucking make the plays you have to make up. You don't have to get up in the nuts and butts of it, as much as long as you strafe right. And then you got your 5th rounders. I mean, Singleton, I think, is probably the steal of their draft. And I think the only reason why he fell so much is because he broke his foot in a Senior Bowl practice. So he wasn't able to do anything at the combine. I don't think he did anything at the pro day. I can't really remember. But he wasn't able to do much. He wanted to compete at the Senior Bowl so that he can improve his draft grade because he knew exactly where he was at, which I think was that fourth or fifth round. And I think he was kind of hoping to boost it a little bit because obviously he has the talent. You saw the talent there at Penn State. You saw what he can do. Well, he broke his foot. And I think they might have got their future running back there because Tony Pollard's getting up there in age. And Tajay Spears is not what they wanted him to be or develop the way that they wanted. They wanted him to take the spot from Pollard. Well, he can't stay healthy either. So by like week 7 or 8, Singleton might be your starting halfback because both these other guys are backed up. They're banged up. They're on
Right.
IR. They're hurt. They're not playing.
Mm-hmm.
Season's not going the way they thought it would, which makes sense. But and then a couple guys, Jackie Marshall, and going to be some depth at the D tackle spot. I think they got a very smart guy in Pat Coogan, who will be a night depth chart from Indiana. Very smart, plays a center position. Sure, he could play all three if they really need him to, all the interior. And then the tight end, like I say, it's the 7th round, but it doesn't make all that sense. I don't think it was a horrible draft. I still think they're a couple years away. I don't. I mean, I know this Division 2 can kind of flip flop, but I don't think it's flip flopping for the Titans. I'm not a huge believer in Cam Ward yet either. I wasn't a huge believer when he got drafted. I don't know. If I was the Titans, I would have traded the pick and ran with Will Levis. Probably not that year. Probably was going to throw away, but gave him this year because obviously his shoulder was fucked. But if I was the Titans, I wouldn't let him play. I'd be like, go get your fucking shoulder fixed. We'll play you next year, and then trade the fucking first round pick like they had traded. Somebody wants Cam Ward, they'll fucking pay for it, and then move on. But I don't, to be the best out of this division, I can't wait to see what you think of the other parts. Because to me, that's not even that great, especially top 10.
Yeah,
I don't think it's
no.
that great.
Yeah. This division is horrifically
Well,
bad
you also had them number
overall.
10 overall, which is crazy to me.
Yes, that just means that they are the most. Now, mind you, this isn't like a power ranking. This is improval rating. They were to me, they were the
Yeah, but
10th
like,
most
I
improved,
mean,
but
if you put a flower
they're
on shit, yeah, you improved it, but like, it's still
yeah,
shit. So I mean,
yeah. But then you build off of that shit. You get different shit.
I don't know, man. I mean, like, yeah, they got like 2 pieces, maybe 3 to build on, but I mean, the rest of the team is still
Yeah.
shit.
Well, those 2 or 3 pieces, they could shine a little bit, and then you use them as recruiting pieces. Like, hey, we got a young quarterback that's thriving. We got a great young receiver. We got a great running back. We just need a couple things that we think like that kind of shit.
They need a lot.
Not all shit's created equal,
They need a lot.
as you'll
All
see in
right.
this division.
Anyways, let's move on to the Houston Texans.
Mm-hmm. Average 3.33, good enough for 10th in the AFC and 18th overall. It's a little. The system is a little unfair to this team, just because their defense was so elite last year, and their quarterback play at times was not elite. But you're not going to draft a quarterback, so. Uh, so let's see who they lost. They lost Titus Howard, Juice Scroggins, Tim Settle, Christian Kirk, Christian Harrison, Jimmy Ward. A lot of guys that played certain roles. Not a lot of guys that had huge impact during the game. They did re-sign Dalton Schultz. They got David Montgomery back. Trent Brown, Braden Smith, who, surprise, surprise, the Colts didn't want to pay. They got I can't even read my own writing. Danielle Hunter to come back, and then Reed Blankenship. So they did keep a lot of their own guys, which is smart when you're the Texans, and that's how the ball's that elite. Keelan Rutledge, this got a 5 stars for me. I absolutely love this kid. He is everything I want to know lineman. He protects his own. He stops at the echo of a whistle. He doesn't give a shit who you are. He's determined to just rip your fucking throat out every play. I love this kid. He's going, and not only do I love the kid, he's going to a team that desperately needs him on the O-line. Cade McDonald, love him. I love the moment of him getting drafted and how emotional he is. But he brings absolutely nothing in the passing game, which is fine because the Texans don't need another dude who can rush the passer. He's going to stuff the run. That's what they're going to ask him to do. So he's going to do that, and good for him. To me, the most confusing pick for them is Marlon Klein, the tight end out of Michigan. Clearly, they are banking on his potential. He was really highly rated coming out of high school when he committed there. Between the Harbaugh debacle, the Moore scandal, the inconsistency at quarterback, the fact that despite having almost no receivers that were elite, they were a running team. So he really wasn't used that much, and just on and on and on about why he didn't produce. They're clearly taking potential at that point. Um, Fabe- Fabechi Nanawasu, offensive guard of Oklahoma. He's another dude start for them as early as later on this year. Plays three interior spots. Wade Woodass, or maybe Woodis, I don't know.
That's what it is.
Woodac. I'm gonna say Woodass. Linebacker at Clemson. Uh, he's a solid rotational floor guy. Kamari Ramsey, safety out of USC. I liked him a little bit, but it kind of felt like he played out of position a lot. Got sucked in on play action a lot last year. Uh, Lewis Bond out of Boston College. This one confuses me just a little bit. Maybe you'll have some other thoughts that might shed some light on this. The dude starred at Boston College, but if you look at the depth chart that these guys have at receiver, he's kind of buried. Like if you're going to try and learn about what a guy's going to be able to do for you to maybe let some of those other older guys go, he's gonna need some. He's gonna need some PT. I just don't see it on this team unless a lot of people get injured. And then Aiden Fisher, linebacker out of Indiana, the leader of the defense of the national championship team. He's very underrated, and if anything, he'll be able to learn off of Algier. So to me, they hit some key things. They didn't hit everything. Everything's going to hinge on Stroud, and if he played like he did in the playoff, they're going to have to go elsewhere for quarterback because that's just not going to cut it.
Yeah, I mean, it all hinges on Stroud, and I don't think. I mean, yeah, they did stuff in the off season, to get some guys on offense, but like, all right, you got Brendan Smith to play right tackle, you got Wyatt Teller now at guard. You drafted Rutledge to play guard. I mean, like, yeah, they went and got some offensive linemen because they realized the offensive line is kind of a problem.
Mhm.
I still think they went too hard on defense in this draft when they could have got some more offensive guys because the defense was not the problem. And
Right.
drafting Caden McDonald in the second round, that's a fucking problem. Yeah, I mean, like, he's going to stop the run, but that's it. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he's big. He's just Mozzie Smith. And Mozzie Smith didn't fucking pan out. Well, if he went to the Texans, would he pan out in the system? Maybe. But I mean, that's what Kenny McDonald is. I mean, he's just a run stuffer. He's a big guy. He's not going to give you a pass rush. He's not going to do anything. He's just Mozzie Smith. That didn't pan out too. Oh, excuse me. I mean, the Rutledge one was good because they needed the offensive lineman. Then he kind of killed it with McDonald, and then killed it with Klein. Potential or not, I mean, I wasn't that high on Klein. I was higher on Delp than I was Klein. Klein is, yeah, he's from Michigan or whatever. He played with a shit quarterback in Underwood who apparently might lose his job this year too to
Yeah.
Carr, whoever the hell's up there now. But that's besides the point. But they went so hard on defense again. I mean, half their picks were defense, half of them were offense. They should have used 3/4 at least for offense because that's where they had most of their struggles, especially in the playoffs. Um, yeah, they got David Montgomery too to play running back, but I mean, like, he's just a little bit younger than Chubb. It's the same running back. They're the same style. They're not giving you speed or you kind of get that power with it. And then you have Woody Marks. Um, I don't know. I mean, I like Wade Woodez. The linebackers are Henry Toto, Aziz Alshir, and EJ Speed. They also have Marte Mapu, who they traded for from the Patriots. Um, Rotational guy, probably. Same with Aiden Fisher. Just kind of rotating. Yeah, he comes from Indiana. Won a natty, but it was mainly Mendoza. And other pieces. I like Ramsey. Um, he's not going to have to jump in and start though, especially with this defense. They did just get Reed Blankenship. The other safety right now is Kalen Bullock or MJ Stewart or Jalen Reed. They're one of those three. Um, but Ramsey might get a chance to start. I mean, he was good at USC. Like you say, kind of played out of position sometimes. But in this type of defense, and especially D'Amico Ryan as your head coach, a defensive-minded guy, he has a chance to develop. We've seen it with plenty of guys in here. He's young. He'll have a shot. They're not going to not give it to him. I can tell you that much. Yeah, he's a fifth round pick, but there were some guys who had him pretty high, especially last year. Who was one of the top safeties. Kind of fell into that Wheatley section of where down year. Here we go. Um, Lewis Bond doesn't make any sense for me because he's not fast. He ran like a 4.6 40, and he's only 5'11. So I don't know if he's quicker than fast, and more shifty and use him on like punt returns and stuff like that. But when you have Collins, Higgins, Tank Dell might be back this year. I don't know what's going on with him. If he gets back, I mean, then why the hell did you even draft Lewis Bond? But then you also have Jalen Noel and Xavier Hutchins. I don't think it was a need. Sixth round, probably a better receiver to take out there if you're going to take one. I mean, shit, you might as well take another fucking tight end at that point, or even a running back. I mean,
Yeah.
whatever. But I don't know. I don't understand the Lewis Bond one. I don't think this was an amazing draft. I think they did better in the off season, I guess, than they did the draft. I mean, but then they didn't have to do much because the defense like all stayed. Like, they basically kept the whole defense and they kept basically the whole offense. They improved the main part that they needed to though, which was the offensive line.
Right.
And this, I mean, honestly, with this team, I maybe a stronger wide receiver too would be great. But if they get Dell back, I mean, you're kind of fixed there. But Stroud is done after this year if he just sucks. If he sucks again, they can't. He went from that great rookie season to just being ass. So whoever had his rookie cards and they sold them, me, good fucking move because they ain't worth shit now. So, good move. All right, now we're on to your prior team. I also want everyone to know Titans was also another team of his. I'm not too thrilled he's a Cowboys fan right now because this trend is not going well because this one is the Colts. And we see how both of these franchises are right now. So
I will tell you. I will tell you this. I was a Titans fan because Eddie George, favorite player coming out of Ohio State, went to the Titans. I said I'm a Titans fan. But then as soon as I saw Bud Adams flipping off his fans and saying, "I don't need you, fuck you," I'm like, I'm not rooting for a team that has known it like that. So I went to the rival, which was this fucking team over here, and they've been fucking pegging me in the ass with no Astroglide for decades, and I just had enough. So hopefully I can kick it all with this.
I
But
really hope so. I really hope you don't bring it more over here, Lopes. For the love of
I
God.
promise I promise you if the Cowboys have a really really bad year, I will throw on a Giants hat for you. How about
Throw on an Eagles hat.
that?
Just end them. End them.
Eagles. Well,
The Giants
no,
already suck. You can't do more
I
to
have some self respect for myself. Put an Eagles hat on. Um, but the Colts average 3.22. That is good enough for 13th in the AFC and 24th overall.
them. Okay.
They lost, and this is typical Colts fashion. As soon as somebody gets good enough to be paid, except for Alec Pierce, they just don't pay them. They just let them go. Michael Pittman, they traded to Pittsburgh. They lost Braden Smith, Quiddy Pay, Neville Galliman, Zaire Franklin, Nick Ross, and Danny Pinzer.
They also got rid of
They
Kenny
did
Moore.
they did get rid of Kenny Moore at his request. Um, and then they were able to re-sign Daniel Jones, not like he had too many other suitors. They were able to get back Alec Pierce. They had to overpay for him, but they did get him back. And then their other key signings are Colby Wooten, Arden Key, and kicker Blake Group. Hey, good job,
You guys
everybody.
also got Dwayne Thomas from the
Wait,
Cowboys.
you guys.
Oh,
You
the
guys?
Colts got. I'm so used to it.
Thank
I'm still
you.
getting used to being a Cowboys fan. They got
Yeah.
Cowboy safety Dwayne Thomas. So
Ooh,
I
congratulations.
liked him, but like it's
Uh,
like whatever.
yeah.
But I don't think he was that great.
Uh, so they didn't have anybody in the first round because they traded it off to the Jets. CJ Allen, I did like him. He's going to be an immediate starter for them. Linebacker has been a long time need for the Colts. So I think he steps in day one. He's going to be an impact player for them. AJ Holsey, he's another immediate starter, even though I think that speaks more to the deficiency in the secondary than it does about Halsey. I'm not saying that I don't like Halsey, especially in the third round. I'm just saying, I don't know if he starts for a lot of other teams as opposed to starting for the Colts. Jalen Farmer, offensive guard from Kentucky. He'll be a solid depth piece, maybe start for the new GM and new head coach next year. One of my favorite people, not necessarily on the football field, but somebody that I would want to interview. Bryce Bocher, linebacker out of Oregon. He needs to play with a little bit more consistency. He'll probably start off contributing, playing special teams. But this is also the guy that goes 100 miles an hour during a walkthrough and gets in fights with his teammates because he's just so intense. So definitely check that man's locker for an 8 ball, but still. Um, this next one, George Gums Jr., defensive end out of Florida.
I don't know.
He didn't stand out there. He wasn't anything great. And then when they drafted him, immediately they came out and said, "Oh, well, he's going to be an outside linebacker for us." Okay, all right, Mr. Ballard. You go
Weird.
do that and just make sure that you pack every piece of thing that you own in your office because in a year you're gone. Caden Curry, 11 sacks in 2025. He'll be in rotation. I like Caden Curry. He's a little bit different than some of the other 1 year guys that we see coming out. He did play behind a bunch of dudes that got drafted in the first round, so I can't really shade him too much for that. Seth McGowan, running back at Kentucky, he's a big dude. He'll probably challenge Gideons for the backup spot behind Jonathan Taylor. And then Deion Banks, wide receiver out of Oklahoma. He's a core special teams guy. He'll be a gadget guy. Um, Overall, they didn't do anything that they really needed to do to get better. They definitely didn't catch up to the Texans. I think the Titans are catching up more to them than if anything. Steichen knows he's on his last leg. Um, Ballard knows that this is going to be his final chance, and this is the offseason you put together. You lost Pittman, you lost Brady Smith, you lost some key contributors, and you plug it up with a bunch of dudes who you're just hoping and praying for. I don't buy it. I don't like it. What are your thoughts?
I definitely don't hate it as much as you do. I can tell you that much. But I'm trying to find Banks here. Oh, it's Burks. What am I doing?
Burks, yeah,
Yeah,
Oklahoma.
well, I think I have Burks written down too, and I still wrote down, I still looked up Banks, and I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing wrong? Um, so okay. Overall, I mean, I don't. On paper, I'm gonna say this. On paper, I like the defense. It's young, except for the D tackles. Other than the D tackles,
Mm-hmm.
it's a very young defense with a lot of potential. When you have JT, what's his last name?
JT Tuimuluau.
There you go, Ohio State guy. And then
Mm-hmm.
Latu on the opposite side, who you weren't a huge fan of because of the neck injury.
That scared shit.
Rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
But he's kind of panning out for them, which is great. And then they have Akeem Davis Gaither at linebacker. George Gums Jr. Is actually moving him to linebacker doesn't make any less sense. I mean, he's like almost 6'5". He's 245. But he runs a 4.66 and he has a 41-inch vertical. So it's gonna be a guy hard to pass the ball over, especially playing C.J. Stroud twice a year. That'll be kind of easy for him. But we'll get into that. So C.J. Allen, first pick in the second round, great pick. They need a linebacker, makes perfect fucking sense. I absolutely no problem with that at all. A.J. Halsey in the third round, need a fucking safety, no problem with that at all. He'll probably end up starting aside Cam Bynum. I don't have a problem with that at all. Jalen Farmer. I mean, the offensive line isn't what it used to be. They did lose Brandon Smith as well. Maybe he competes for a spot on there. Quentin Nelson is getting any younger. I'm not from the center over the center right guard and right tackle spot. I think is pretty much wide open to me. Maybe he competes. Yeah, he's a third round or a fourth round pick. So maybe he gets a chance to compete. We'll see what he's got. George Gums, like I said, he's almost 6'5", 245 pounds, and they're moving him to linebacker, outside linebacker. They run a 4.3. So, I mean, he's athletic enough to do it. He's fast enough. He has a nice vertical. Broad jump, I think it was over 10. So he has the athleticism to do it. I still think they should have kept him at D end as like a pass rushing situation, but they picked up Arden Key, and then Caden Curry, who they picked up after him, is pretty much a pass rush specialist as well, who I really liked. I really, Ohio State, whatever, Penn State fan, I don't give a shit. I liked Caden Curry, 1 year starter, put up some decent stats, especially rushing the passer. I think maybe in this they kind of come up with a pass rushing third and long or fourth and long, and you kind of move some DNs around. And Latu, Curry, and JT are on the field all at the same time, and you get after the passer. I think that would be a good combination. I'm not a huge fan of Seth McGowan. I think he's very slow. He's also old. I'm pretty sure he's like 24, 25, 26. I think he's 26. Pretty sure he's 26 years old. He's an old dude, especially coming out of
He's
college.
not great.
It's not great.
When running backs hit their wall at 29 or whatever.
He's 24. He might as well be 26. I mean, Jesus Christ. Not a huge fan of it. Wasn't a huge fan of him as a running back just from the age. Age just, call me what you want. I don't care. Now, the Deion Burks, I think this guy is going to be more than just a specialist. Especially on a team where you have Alec Pierce and Josh Downs. Okay, but then your next one is Nick Westbrook Ikine, and then Ashton Dalton and Anthony Gold and Laquan Treadwell and Cole Owen and Eli Packel. The guy is 5'9", almost 5'10". He weighs 180 pounds. So he's a little bit smaller size, but he runs a 4.3. He has a 42.5-inch vertical, and he almost has an 11-foot broad jump. These are the things you want from a wide receiver. I mean, yeah, he may be 5'9", 5'10", but the dude can jump 42.5 feet in the fucking air. I mean, Jesus Christ. And he runs a 4.3. So, get him in space. If you have to throw him like a post over the middle or something and he has to go up against a safety, I'm going to give him that jump ball. I'm going to give him that chance to try to out-jump the safety because he can jump 42.5 feet in the fucking air. 7th round pick, not a lot of eyes on him, not a lot of pressure, and it was a conservatory pick. It wasn't even like a normal 7th round pick. It was a 38th pick in the 7th round. I like him. I think that could be a steal for them, especially in the wide receiver room they have after Alec Pierce, who is their deep ball guy. I love Alec Pierce. I have him on my dynasty team, but concussions. He gets concussions. He gets 1 or 2 a year. So I don't know how long he's going to be playing for because he goes up, he throws his body on the line, he's willing to do whatever he can to get the ball, but he smashes his head off the fucking field all the time, and he ends up in concussion protocol. So I'm not a huge fan of it. I think they had a good draft. I think they could possibly have a good year. I also think they might end up starting 2 rookie linebackers. I know you said Bryce Boucher will end up being a rotational guy, but there's not really behind him. And they have 3 linebackers and Jalen Charles, Austin, and Chi or Tajay Chambers, and I don't know, fuck these guys. I'm gonna give the young guys some ball. Let the young guys run. And people, they run a lot of nickel now anyway, so you only need 2 linebackers. So he might only be on the field, first, second down, and then he's off the field anyways, and gives you that run stuff and run through a wall with some Brian Cushing-esque. It's kind of what you need for that third guy nowadays. I don't hate it as much as you. I think your former team did pretty well in terms of turning around a team that did well, except against good teams. So, and that brings us to the least of the South, the Jaguars. What do you got for us, Rain Man?
Well, we have reached the point where you're starting to beg 1 and 2s for blowies. Other than that, it's peanut butter and the dog again. Average of 3.00.
Wow.
Good enough for dead last in the AFC. Good enough for dead last in the NFC.
Wow, Jaguars, you suck.
This was fucking awful. I said this to you right after the actual draft. The GM in the movie Draft Day, he tied up the actual GM and was playing make believe. And what the fuck were you doing this entire offseason?
Go
We'll
ahead.
get into who they did. Travis Etienne, Devin Lloyd, Greg Newsome, and Andre Wingard. These are three of the best dudes that I could put down that they signed. DJ Dallas, Quinton Morris, and Dennis Gordet. That's a running back, tight end, and defensive end,
What
respectively.
about Chris Rodriguez Jr.? You forgot about the best running back they have now.
So, anyways, yeah, that happens. Then you get to the draft. Oh my God. Okay, they didn't have a first round pick because they gave it to Cleveland for Travis Hunter. Which, okay, fine. All right, you're living with it. I'm okay with that because if Travis Hunter works out, whatever.
He at least gets
Then
people
you
talking about them. So,
that's accurate. Here's something that people were talking about. Why? Second round pick, Nate Forfeiture, tight end from Texas A&M. The dude has 417 career receiving yards and 19 catches. 19 catches. According to you, Oscar Delp is going to have more catches in his rookie year than this dude had in his last year in college. And they took him in the second fucking round, 2 stars. Um, Albert Regis, defensive tackle, Texas A&M. Again, okay, I guess. He was an average player. He's going to be in the rotation. My favorite pick of theirs, Emmanuel Pregnon, offensive guard from Oregon. I personally think that he can start this year. I don't see why he can't, especially if there's an injury or two. I think he takes a job, he never lets it go. The one that in researching all the players that we did prior to the draft and then after they were drafted, some interesting stats came out. And according to ESPN Analytics, the dude that they took in the third round, Jalen Husky, corner out of Maryland, he had an 18% chance of getting drafted. Not in the third round or second round or whatever. 18% chance of being drafted at all.
what
And
the
they
fuck?
took him in the third round. Yeah, no. Everything else is
Why?
pretty average for them. I have no idea. Wesley Williams, defensive end out of Duke, could be a rotational guy. Tanner Koziel, he was a little underrated. I kind of liked him at Houston. He's another guy that can work his way up the depth chart. Josh Cameron, wide receiver out of Baylor, special teams guy. C.J. Williams, wide receiver at Stanford, another special teams guy. Uh, Zach Jeffrey, defensive end out of Washington. He's going to be a rotational guy. And then Parker Hughes, middle linebacker out of Middle Tennessee State. He, to me, is going to be a career special teams guy. Um, this, to me, is reminiscent of the New York Giants. They hire Brian Daboll. They have a good year. He wins Coach of the Year, and then they rest on those laurels, and they just shit the bed after that. Brian Daboll gets fired a couple years later. They got to restart with everything. And this, to me, they said, you know what? We did really well. Well, we did really well for the Jaguars. They hosted a lot of games overseas. There's a lot of stuff going on, swirling about them that's good right now. Travis Hunter's doing this, that, and the other thing. And then them and Aaron Rodgers went into a deep, dark cave and didn't resurface until OTA. I don't know what they're doing. They're wasting Trevor Lawrence's year, the best years of his life. Um, Bashaw Tootin and Chris Rodriguez, like they're going to be their running backs. Now they're talking about Travis Hunter playing more corner than receiver, even though they want to still give him receiver reps. But then you still have a receiver room that you traded for a couple of dudes last year in season, and then you draft a couple more, and you don't really address any deficiencies that you have in the secondary, except for a dude that had an 18% chance of being drafted overall. I don't get it. I hate this offseason for them. I don't get it. I don't get it. Maybe you can shed some light on this. this is the worst in the NFL for me. I absolutely hate this offseason.
I have no light to shed on it because it fucking sucked. I mean, if it fucking sucked. I mean, like
Yeah.
the off season was not great. They did nothing to better their team in any single way possible in my eyes, whether it was through the draft or free agents. I don't think they fucking did anything. The most moves that they made were during the season last year when they picked up Myers, which is great. I think they have a great wide receiver crew with Brian Thomas Jr. If he learns how to play football again in his third year. First year was great. Second year, I don't know what the fuck was going on. Fuck me in fantasy. And then third year, we'll see what happens. You have Myers, Parker Washington really came on. And then, if you want to use Travis Hunter, use Travis Hunter. Your fourth wide receiver, that's fine. But they definitely had more needs than Josh Cameron and CJ Williams in the sixth round. I mean, like, yeah, it's sixth round, but still. And then picking a tight end, not just one, but two in this draft, to be your second and third tight end. Your first pick in the draft is another tight end after you just have Brenton Strange as your other tight end. I don't know. You going 2-3 tight end cents a lot now? Is your idea just to pound the ball? But like, so you only have to use 3 wide receivers instead of using 4 and not have to worry about the rest of them? I don't know. I mean, like the best pick, like you said, was Emmanuel Pregron in the third round, who I thought was gonna be a first round guy. Slips all the way to almost the end of the third round. Maybe Albert Regis is going to be, the next guy to start next to Armstead, stop the run or whatever. I don't know. I mean, like, I really like, out of this, Wesley Williams, the guy at the Duke, the defensive end. I think he'll be a great rotational guy, give Walker a break, give Hines Allen a break, get him in there and passing downs. I think that'll be good. But fucking hell, dude, anything after that, I don't even want to fucking talk about it. It doesn't even fucking matter. None of these guys jump off the board. None of them scream, this is why we took them or anything like that. They're a bunch of nobodies. And then taking a Husky, in the third round who everyone had like a 6th, 7th round grade on him. They took him in the third. Maybe they're moving him to safety. I don't know, but they definitely needed a fucking corner, and they sure as fuck didn't take one. They're going to have to play Travis Hunter corner because they don't fucking have another one. So I don't know. I don't fucking know. I don't know what they did. They deserve to be last. I don't know. This one dumbfounds me because like it's not making sense. Like other ones, I'm able to make some sense out of it, or be like, this guy kind of made sense for this reason. These ones make zero fucking sense. Like even the wide receivers make zero fucking sense of why you took them there. Or a guy 18%. I don't know. I don't fucking know, man. There was definitely other players. The only guys I like out of this are Pregnon and Williams, and that's the third and fourth round. Other than that, maybe Regis, seeing why they picked him and use him, but the other guys, fuck if I know, dude. Especially your first pick being your backup tight end. Fuck if I know. It's almost as if like a team took a quarterback 13th overall to be their backup. It would also be something like that instead of taking a starting tight end or wide receiver. But who the fuck would do that? Crazy thought.
I mean, if I imagine if anybody were dumb enough to do that, Darren Orlovsky would be behind it. So,
yeah, I mean they deserve to be last though. I completely agree on that one. That's one of the ones that I completely agree on. Usually, sometimes it's you know what, you're right. I completely agree. That makes sense. You're right.
mind squirrel and nuts and all that,
Goddamn, man. So yeah. All right, everyone. That's what we got for you. It's a little bit longer than it probably should have been, but you know what? Johnny Manziel matters, and I love him. And Manziel, I know you watched this, obviously. Let's go get a beer.
Have it.
I'll buy you a beer. Come out to Pennsylvania. Let's get a beer.
Yeah.
And you know what? While we're at
We'll
it,
buy
pick
the
up
first
Mayfield.
round. We'll buy the next.
Yeah.
6.
Pick up Mayfield on the way, and then have Josh Allen come down, and we'll all just get a beer, and we'll have a great time. You know what would be great though? I'll be the shortest guy of all of us, but I'm the best looking, and that's all that matters.
Amen to that. You ball spot and everything.
So come on up. Come to Pennsylvania, Manziel. Let's have a good fucking time. Let's get the boys together. Boys are back in town. The boys are back in town. Let's get hammered. I'll show you some Pennsylvania ways. Let's do this. All right. Anything to say to the lovely people before we get going?
No, I do appreciate everyone that continues to support, give us great feedback, bad feedback. It's all feedback because you know what? We're living rent free in your heads either way, baby. But no, we appreciate everything, and And make sure you have your ticket strapped in because we're going, baby. We're going.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Keep liking, sharing, subscribing, following. Don't forget that like button. Don't forget the subscribe button. Don't forget to share this. The more you share, the more people we get to annoy. You guys get to, everyone gets to hate us then. You don't get to be the only ones who hate us and get annoyed by us. Everyone will be annoyed and hate us then. And that's the important thing, is we want to annoy the most
Mm-hmm.
people possible. So please keep liking, sharing,
Amen.
subscribing, talking about us, good or bad. I just love being in your mouth. Thank you guys so much. We will be back again next week with our
Mm-hmm.
final NFL West. Is it West?
West, yeah.
Yeah, West?
West,
Yeah.
West,
Is it West?
yeah. It's the West, yeah.
Yeah, West.
It's the West, but nobody. The 8 remaining teams are not going to be worse than the Jacksonville
You
Jaguars.
can't.
So
You put them 32. You
no.
can't. So we'll be back with the NFL West. We East? I thought you said West. It's SpongeBob. Anyways, Lopes doesn't get it. He thinks good games are the first game of the season, which is the Hall of Fame game. So
No.
we realized his mental capacity last episode if you watched that one. If
Mm-hmm.
you didn't, go watch it because you'll be very disappointed like me. Anyways, we'll be back again next week. We're looking forward to it. We know you're looking forward to it. We love you. Have a good night. Have a good evening. Have a good morning. Bye.